Hello, I'm Matthew Jones with McLaren Tampa Bay with the Dimmitt Automotive Group. Today I'd like to present to you the McLaren 720S. This example is presented in Fistral Blue, one of the MSO, McLaren Special Operations color, and it is truly magnificent. A metallic blue that just glows out in the daylight. Every 720S since day one has had these amazing LED headlights. It is completely hollow and offers unprecedented lighting for a supercar. Every McLaren has LED front and rear lighting. The front splitter here is designed to capture air and really control it around the vehicle. And McLarens keep the air very tight to the car as the air runs down the side of each vehicle, giving it really amazing high-speed stability. The advantage of high-speed stability, of course, is entering a corner. The car is not dancing around. She stays nice and straight for ultimate control. You may have seen videos where this McLaren is really annihilating everything else on the market within her sector because she's much lighter. Every McLaren features a beautiful carbon fiber chassis, so the frame of the car isn't metal, it's actually made of carbon fiber, including these A-pillars. That is the structure of the car. We're going to move around to the side of the car now and show you some more detail. Okay, now we're at the side view of the car and one of the best views of the vehicle. Now you can really start to see what the engineers did with airflow, controlling the air coming over the front of the hood here and running down into this channel. As the air runs into this channel, that's cooling the engine down. Now, most supercars, you'll notice, have a big hole in the side here. McLaren have avoided that because you get warm, turbulent air coming out of the wheel going into the engine, which is at a higher temperature. With this channel here, the air going in is already cooler, meaning that the vehicle stays much cooler than most of its competitors. Doesn't sound important today, but on track, very important. The big deal with every McLaren is brakes. The power of these rotors is difficult to describe. If you're not used to a supercar, it can actually disorient you. Over 15 inches here on the nose, and 15 inches on the tail. Normally a rotor cannot be that large back there because it would lock up. The advantage of having all of this airflow we've talked about, the great big wing on the rear will stand up under full braking and push that big 305 section tyre back into the ground, giving it unprecedented braking. It really is a lot of fun. The caliper itself looks actually quite small, but in reality it starts here and finishes here. It's huge. Almost 9 inches long. They've cut away all of the sculpture, making it like a skeleton, a shrink-wrapped rotor, if you will. What that takes away is unsprung weight. If you talk to racing people, that's all they try and ever achieve, is to have less weight underneath the bottom of the spring. McLaren study this relentlessly, 400 engineers working on that, and this is a triumph. Other manufacturers are scratching their heads at how they've made such efficient brakes. 720S, the number on a McLaren, every McLaren these days, is PS, which is the German, which literally per Stretter or something like that is the word. It actually translates into horse strength. So we call it horsepower, of course. However, so she's supposed to be 720 horsepower, 710 in the US, but as you know, you may have seen on other videos, they've measured it, it's putting nearly 700 right to the wheels. 10 to 15% loss through the powertrain. She's really putting out 750 to 780 horsepower, bearing in mind she only weighs 2,820 pounds dry. So perspective, she's about 400 pounds lighter than some of the sporty hatchbacks. So really just an amazing car. So let's take a look at this wonderful interior that McLaren have given us on 720. Firstly, to get into the vehicle, we've got a large paddle here. We just squeeze that and the door will start to lift. One of my favorite features, it only opens up about 19 inches. So if you can think of a regular door opening up to here, you still couldn't get in the car. The carbon fiber frame means the door has to rise up. But it's opening in such a small space, it's very convenient for lifts and different things in people's collections. You'll also notice that the roof, half of the roof has gone with the door, giving us unprecedented access. Ladies in particular love getting in and out of this McLaren because it's not a bar here that makes it difficult for ingress and egress. Really a magnificent design. The interior of the car itself is obviously very driver-centric. The driving position is unrivaled. Every magazine will tell you the same thing. The visibility out of a 720S is just the best. Because the frame of the car that you can see here is all carbon fiber, including these structures inside these windows, and the main T-bar itself is all connected to the lower frame. You're effectively in a cage of carbon fiber, giving us visibility just beyond belief. Again, not important right now, but on track, the A-pillars are pushed out a long way so you can see the apex of the corner. They've really thought about how the owner is going to use the car and get the most out of it. The interior itself has these unbelievable seats. Operation is in every way you can imagine. The steering column moves in and out, up and down, all sorts of directions to get you in the most comfortable and therefore most effective driving position. Electronics-wise, we're state-of-the-art. This particular vehicle is equipped with the 360 camera system, kind of a first for a supercar, where we can see all the way around the vehicle as if you're in an airplane looking down on the car. A lot of luxury cars have that, but not the supercars. McLaren's incorporated into 720 as an option. It's really something I recommend. When you're coming below 10 or 15 miles an hour, you can push in a button and turn on the cameras. So if you're coming towards a parking guide, a wall in your garage, whatever it might be, you can actually see where you're going. If you're reversing into spaces, you've got the white lines, you can see the white lines each side of the car. It's very, very interesting. Steering is hydraulic. It's an electro-hydraulic system. So most of its competitors, virtually all, have gone to electric steering, which is faster in its reaction. However, you lose all the feel. McLaren have kept hydraulic steering because they want you to get an awful lot back from the road, and that's something that this car in particular is famous for. Other options is the folding display. The main folding display in the vehicle is something that I wasn't sure about at first, but now I've used it and driven it on track, etc. It's a real boon in information because you can have it raised up and see everything you can think of, from tire pressures to tire temperatures, the temperatures of the engine, etc., etc. It'll also display your navigation instructions. It will display the telephone, the incoming call, and so on. Nice thing on the navigation screen with the telephone, if that person is saved into your phone with an image, that will appear on the screen when they call you, so that's rather nice. The infotainment system has changed from the famous Iris system that we had for a long time. We've now gone to MDI, the McLaren Driver Interface, and it gives you so much better information in truth. It operates faster, because the other one was sometimes a bit laggy. This one's not. It's as soon as you touch it, it operates. The settings page is pages and pages within that touchscreen that is really wonderful information. The waterfall, where the gearbox selections are, DNR on different waterfalls, give it a very designer-type feel. One thing that's nice about a McLaren, no other parts from other vehicles are in this car, not even other McLarens. Everything is specific to each model. So a 570 touch panel is different than a 720 touch panel. The gauges and everything that you touch and move are specifically made for this car. Most of those controls are milled aluminum, so on a cold morning they're cold to touch, and it just gives a nice quality feel. The infotainment system, again, has USB connections in the center console, 12-volt power sections, cup holders that are actually functional, meaning they're high enough support on the sides that your Coke doesn't go flying across the car with the crazy cornering force that she creates. Lighting, again, is all controlled from inside, including, when you get to the premium specs, ambient lighting in about 13 colors that I can dim and make darker, brighter, etc., and really gives a nice feel in the evening. It lights up your feet and various channels through the door, and it's really a first-class interior. The biggest takeaway, I think, is the quality of the controls. Everything you touch will be the finest leathers, this beautifully laid Alcantara, unusual colors that you just don't see in other cars, are blended beautifully throughout the car. Several styles of stitching, available sizes of stitching even. So really a bespoke car that you can enjoy, and just every time you climb in the car, it's a special experience. Now we're at the back of 720S, and this is where the real magic with aerodynamics starts to begin. You'll notice this huge wing. She's actually over 70 inches wide. Normally the wing will be restricted within the width of the car, so McLaren actually curved it around the fender shapes just to get a larger surface area to catch this wonderful air that's coming at it at very high speed. The shape of the wing, obviously, is very curved underneath. It's almost like the reverse of an aeroplane wing. So it's actually creating downward pressure, not lift. This downward pressure is some of the highest of any supercar on the market today, giving us that unrivaled stability and off-the-line traction. She'll actually compete and often beat the all-wheel drive cars in off the line, even though she's just two-wheel drive. The exhaust pipes on a McLaren are in different places on the different models. The Sport Series cars don't have this big active wing, so then they put the exhaust pipes routed down through here, which keeps the air coming out of that car's diffuser is more central, separate from the air going down the car. The exhaust blows and separates them for high-speed stability. In a Super Series car, like the 720 here, the exhaust pipe being here and here work in conjunction with the wing and split the air coming underneath the car and over the wing. They would collide, the exhaust pipes blow, and between 40 and 135 miles an hour, we actually get a blue flame under full throttle, about 3 feet long. That flame burns the air behind the rear diffuser, splits the air from here and here, and creates an area of low pressure behind the car. That pulls the back of the car down at what these guys regard as low speed, is under 135 miles per hour. The main splitter itself, you'll see, you can almost see through everything in the car, very opened up. As you can imagine, as the car is moving, a lot of hot air created from that big monster motor. All of these vents and holes are pushing warm air out of the car. The diffuser itself, you notice, goes to the center of the wheel each side. Look at other vehicles. They're always within inside the width of the wheels. McLaren was able, because of the shape of the car, they were able to create a much wider splitter and diffuser, giving us unprecedented downforce. Really a magnificent car. This is the rear end of the car, and most people are used to seeing this in other cars because it disappears off into the distance. Thanks so much for watching and being a part of our review today. It is a magnificent car, and we'll be glad to answer any questions for you. Please contact us at McLaren Tampa Bay or www.dimit.com with 2 M's and 2 T's. We'll see you again soon.